Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s, giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. I'm sorry, I'm laughing already.
That's good. Well, to start it off today, you know, we've talked about free agency the last few times, and there probably weren't maybe a ton of surprising moves, but I do, there may, I mean, obviously Cousins going to Golden State was surprising, but there probably were some, maybe under the radar surprising moves with kind of like teams like Indiana and Milwaukee, Phoenix picking up Trevor Ariza. What were some of the surprising moves that you saw, maybe like other than Cousins going to Golden State?
I think Denver Nuggets had some surprising moves. To be honest, I like the Isaiah Thomas move, the Michael
Mm,
Porter Jr. And they have the luxury tax freedom, which is big for the next
yeah,
couple of years. And then we'll hope for a Paul Millsap, a healthy Paul Millsap. Fingers crossed, though. Then they kept Nikola Jokic. I
Jokic.
think Jokic.
Jokic.
Thank you. 5 years, 147 million. Then they have Will Barton, 4 years, 50 million. Got rid of a couple of people, like a first round pick to the Nets. But I like the moves. They're bringing more guys who have not been on the coach, but has been on the coach, like Isaiah Thomas. They made some great moves, especially in the backcourt. I like it. I like it a lot. I wanted to go with somebody who was different. We always
Mm.
say the Lakers or Houston Rockets, but I wanted to highlight a team that's on the rise, to be honest. And the Denver Nuggets, they made some great moves, some money making moves.
Yeah, and just I'm staying with Denver in terms of them. I mean, they were a 46 win team, barely missed the playoffs. They had that game at Minnesota where if they won, they would be in. It was like a winner, go home type of game. And with them, I mean, they've got a pretty talented young trio with Jokic, Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, and now them really solidifying the front court for a long time with Millsap and Jokic. Like how do you see them in that bottom tier? Because I do think they'll be a playoff team, but how do you see them finally getting in this year after a 6 year drought?
Let's hope so, because like you said, they were in the tail end. They had the opportunity to get in. Minnesota squeaked by, and they
Mm,
were costly in the playoffs. I'd rather have the Denver Nuggets
yeah,
than a heartless Minnesota Timberwolves team. But I like them to be top tier this year. I want them to squeak in the playoffs. I do think they make the playoffs, especially with the moves. If Michael Porter Jr. plays and is healthy, I think they have a shot to play, especially if Paul's healthy. That team with, I like them. They go back to the old Denver Nuggets team when Carmelo and team, and they were just going crazy bananas
yeah,
in the playoffs and then in the regular season. I like them to go to. I mean, I like them to make it.
yeah. I, I outside of the Phoenix move, because I talked about how I thought like Trevor Ariza going to Phoenix was kind of a move where like you get a veteran wing who can be a knock down threes, defend well, do all of those things that he did in Houston, and kind of give them a veteran presence. Even though they do have a couple of wings already, but they're younger. The move with Ilyasova going to Milwaukee, I know he already has been there, but I thought that was a pretty surprising move. 3 year, 21 million deal, and if there was any signal that Jabari Parker could have been moved, it probably was then, because now they have you've got a front court tandem with him and Giannis. So that was an interesting move because Ilyasova was really good at Philadelphia, spacing the floor and doing all of those things. And Milwaukee is another team that they were inconsistent, but they push probably the deepest team in the East, the Celtics, to 7 game series, which now looks really impressive. Um, what do you think about Milwaukee this season, and them bringing on Budenholzer and trying to he has a lot of history with the Spurs and Hawks in terms of his playoff going on deep playoff runs.
I think it's going to take some time. To be honest, it's going to be a process, not to steal patent pending from the 76ers.
Really.
But it's going to be a process. You finally add a great two-way defender player at the big man position. That was a big question mark for them in the previous seasons. You had Eric Bledsoe last season. You have Giannis. I think it's going to take some time. We still want to work the quirks out with Giannis as a full basketball player. Once he peaks and she's a complete basketball player, this special. Not saying he's not something special now. He's a great player to watch. But if he becomes a player that we all want him to be, being a top 5 NBA contender one day type player, then he's going to be fun to watch. But as a team, I think it's going to be a process. Shabazz Muhammad, they got him at the players minimum. You bring in Brook Lopez, like I said, Budenholzer as a coach, and I think it's going to take some time for them to gel everyone together and everybody to tap into the potential. But they're going to be something special here.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with Milwaukee is Giannis is one of the best players in the league, a star, top 10 talent, and it's just been what's surrounded by what is surrounding him. Because Chris Middleton, he's a really solid scorer, 23, to 22, 23 a night type of scorer in the playoffs, and I think that was the thing that was missing is, like, when you get an Ilyasova, who's a 3-and-D guy, and then you bring in Brook Lopez, guys who can space the floor, maybe that can open, because Giannis at the 5 was a pretty good lineup. When they had 4 shooters surrounding him, just like with Cleveland the past 3 years with LeBron. It's always been when Love was at the 5 and they had shooters surrounding him, it was a really efficient lineup, one of the deepest, one of the most difficult offensive lineups to start. Outside of Golden State being able to neutralize that lineup. So, yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree that it's going to take some time, but I do like, Budenholzer, who has, he took an Atlanta team in 2015 that really wasn't like that talented in some aspects. I mean, they did have, Korver, Horford, Millsap, but I mean, they were a 61 team. And, that was a really impressive, accomplishment. So, yeah, I mean, were there any other moves that were interesting to you?
That's it so far. We've probably talked about other teams, but I think those teams we finally highlighted. Sorry, Denver Nuggets and and Milwaukee and a little bit of Jabari Parker as well, but we finally got to you guys.
Yeah. Transitioning to Summer League, there were some impressive, consistent performances from Kevin Knox, Wendell Carter Jr., Colin Sexton. Like you said, you think he can have a really good rookie season. So out of that batch, I mean, I would probably go with Wendell Carter Jr. because he wasn't as highly touted as some of the other big men in the draft, and he's able to space the floor really well, be an interior defender, and having a 6'10" wingspan and things of that nature. He really can, I think, work well with the Bulls lineup. So what rookie to you kind of impressed you the most? I think you're going to say Colin Sexton, but go ahead.
You read my mind. I'm still going to stay with Colin Sexton. I'm big on the guy, man. I like his tenacity. I like his drive. I like how he finishes at the rim. He's not scared to put the ball on the court like the game was made for, and take it to the rim and finish. I think he has a tremendous upside. He needs to work on his three-point jumper. Outside percentage needs to go up. But I think he's an all-around point guard. He's a great defender. He wants the big moments. He's a guy I think you can depend on, and I think Avery Johnson will contest to that when he was at Alabama. But I'm so big on the guy, man. I think he fits with the Cavaliers' scheme. I think Tyronn Lue's going to get him in and get him going fast. I think he's the type of guy who can make a difference for that ball team because they're going to need it. You saw back Kevin Love. You got some other pieces. They have J.R. Smith, guys like that. And having a tremendous point guard who can do both is going to be an upside for that ball team. But I think that's his only knock against him. He's not a big three-point guy like typical point guards are now. The transition of what the game is going to. But I like his MO. I like what type of player he is, and I think I'm still big on the guy. I like him. I liked him out of
Yeah.
Alabama. I like I can go on and on about college, but
You can.
you said Carter, Wendell Carter.
Yeah, I said Wendell Carter Jr. because I liked how he can space the floor. He can be. I mean, he has a 6'10" wingspan. He can defend guys like Trae Young. He can do all of those things that I think a lot of the bigs in Chicago can do now, like Lauri Markkanen and Lopez. So to me, he really wasn't as high as of a highly touted big man in the draft as other guys. And what he was able to do in Duke, he kind of trusted the angles and the position, because that's kind of like how Duke's defense worked a lot of times. Being a Duke fan and watching a lot of Duke games, I kind of saw that. But
Right.
To me, with them having a young core, I really think he can be, a talented addition to a young core like we said with Jabari Parker. They've got some talent in the offensive side, but what they can do defensively is, really going to be important.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Let's agree to disagree. No, I like Carter, but yeah, I'm just.
Kevin Knox was another guy that stood out to me too.
I think he had a great summer league too. Yeah.
Yeah. I know he's two comparisons he's gotten is a year younger. I mean, Jason Tatum is still really young, but people are comparing him to like maybe a year younger version of Jason Tatum, and also like how he can play positionless basketball and really be stretch four type and do all those things. I think the difference between him and Tatum is the footwork. Tatum, I would still has superior footwork, but outside of that, I mean, if that's the type of player he can develop into, I think that would be a huge upside for the Knicks, with not having Porzingis for a bit.
Nicely said, brother.
But so if there was maybe another player other than Sexton that kind of stood out to you in terms of how they performed in the summer league, would there be another guy?
Does it have to be a rookie or?
No, it doesn't have to be a rookie. No.
Well, I think I talked about
Josh Hart.
Yeah, Josh Hart. I want to pick another guy, but to be completely honest, I think I only watched the Lakers and the Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely watched Colin Sexton, and I definitely watched Josh Hart, which is a 2-year, second-year guy, but he played phenomenal. I think he's going to be that guy who's going to be the three-point guy for them, the guy who can stretch the floor, get to the line, shoot well and often. That's what they got him for. And he can drive to the hole and finish at the rim too, but he plays defense. Mm-hmm. That's what LeBron needs with the Lakers, guys who can play defense and, two-way players. I think that's what LeBron never had. I don't think he had complete two-way players in his entire career, besides Dwayne Wade. In prime Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Prime.
But that was the interesting thing, because I saw like a Magic Johnson interview where he said, we built this team off of what I saw in the playoffs. So he said what Houston and Boston did with having guys who can break down a defense, defend, be competent two-way guys, and not going after shooters is the strategy they had. Do you think that's a strategy that can translate to a young Western Conference team?
Most definitely. I think so. I mean, that's what you want, especially with a young team.
The only reason I'm posing that question is because the tendency that we've seen in the past with LeBron is having shooters surround him in today's game. That's been where we really haven't seen a team where it's just defensive playmakers.
I don't think he wants that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants offensive players. But I've read, like I said, I say this again, I don't think he had two-way players, complete two-way players besides prime Dwayne Wade in his entire career since he was the Cavaliers, Miami, and back with the Cavaliers. Kyrie is not a two-way player, in my opinion. I think he's a one-way player. I think he's the best scorer, finisher at the rim than anybody in the league. That could be a debate that can go on for ages, but I don't think he had a two-way player just yet. If he gets a two-way player like a Josh Hart or a two-way player like Rajon Rondo, even Lance Stevenson, like he has now with the Lakers, I think they can impose a deeper threat to guys who just play offense. You know what I'm saying? Like guys with the war, I
Yeah.
think those guys can go against a Warriors team or a Houston Rockets team with two-way players. He's always had offensive players, never had straight, like you said, straight defensive players. But I don't think he wants that. I think he wants guys who can score because he's the defensive player. He's the field general on both the backcourt and the front court. I don't think he. I know that might sound retarded or sound. Well, excuse me. I'm sorry. It might not sound appealing to the ear, but I don't think he wants defensive players. I don't think he wants scorers.
Yeah. And that definitely is a good point. Transitioning to just Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell all had amazing seasons last year, and it's really difficult to kind of pick like, okay, like which guy's going to be a first time All Star. I mean, I would go with Simmons because I think you can make the case that he could have been a first time All Star this past season, but he just kind of missed out barely and really started to come on strong at the near the latter end of the season when Embiid was out and they went through that 16 game stretch where he averaged triple double. And if he can put triple doubles up regularly and on a basis where it's just so hard to ignore the impact he's having as an outstanding playmaker at his size. Yeah, I mean, I would say Simmons, and also the fact that LeBron's out of the East now, you got an open spot, and I think that also benefits. But with Mitchell, I do think he's going to build and have a even better second season. But he is in the West, and it's the All-Star ballot's going to be crowded in the West, and Jason Tatum also has a good chance. But Hayward's coming back in, and so his role is probably won't be as dominant as it was last season. But if he does even build on what he did last year, I mean, he could be in there too. But I would go with Simmons.
Well, logically that all makes sense, but I'm gonna go off the fan vote. I think Jason Tatum is the first to go out of those three great basketball players. To be honest, I just think the momentum that he has, even with Hayward and Kyrie coming back into the team, I think he has so much momentum going in. Fans are actually seeing his the tangibles he's on the court. His long frame, his ability to play defense, the ability to score, to dunk on anybody named LeBron James, and et cetera, et cetera. Just that momentum itself will bring him to be the star of any NBA All-Star team. It's all-star. He's a star already. Not taking anything from Ben Simmons or Donovan Mitchell. I just like Jason Tatum as a basketball player. And just thinking as a fan, I would want to see him, a guy who dunked on LeBron James, to go to the NBA. I mean, go to the All-Star game. I just like him. The momentum he has going into the season. I think you can't, even with the guys coming back. I don't think you can put water on that flame. That flame is a blaze. It's a fiery blaze, man. I think he continues the momentum, but it's going to be interesting.
That's the thing.
Buy in.
That's
buy in.
And I know we're going off on a rabbit trail, but I think the most interesting thing with Boston is kind of and I'm saying this politely, but the phrase embarrassment of riches.
Right.
That's kind of where they're at because they have so many. They have such a deep bench, and Terry Rozier showed that he can be a starting level guard, and Brown and Tatum, they took extra steps. My only concern with Boston is, can everybody, not everybody buy in, but can everybody fit in at the same high level that they were last year? And I think Brad Stevens, if there's one coach you want to be dealt with that task, it's Brad Stevens. And because the last few seasons, what he's been able to do has been incredible, as they've gotten very close to the NBA finals last year. And then the year before they were in the Eastern Conference finals. So to me, how everybody can adapt and adjust to what their previous role was, I think that's going to be the most interesting aspect for them this year.
I think so too. I think if they can, I know you say buy in. I think it's still a buy in because the roles, if the role they had last year because of injuries is decreased because the players are coming back, then they have to buy into the role that they have. And I think
Mhm.
if the Warriors can do it with Iguodala and Sean Livingston and those guys coming off the bench, and them being, and still now with Kevin Durant coming and them being a whole, I think
Yeah.
they can do it too. Even Rozier, I think, because you got to think Marcus Smart is back to, you have Rozier, you have all these guys, they have to buy into championship mindset. And that's going to have to take less minutes, or I'm going to have to be a six player or 7 player, I have to come off the bench. If those guys can do that, there's going to be extremely special. But then you have to, injuries are going to be evident, is going to happen. It's a part of the game. But
Mhm.
if they can stay healthy and buy in, oh, man. Oh,
I
God.
mean, they can be in that 62, 65 win range. I think
Most definitely.
that's 60 wins or more is a special team. And I think this year they can be a special team. Um, dealing in terms of Donovan Mitchell, that was another one that we were talking about. Sometimes with players, they can have like the set, like after the All-Star break, I think he averaged like 24 points. And one of the reasons they went into such a, a successful run was not only because of Gobert's defensive presence, but also how Mitchell was scoring and how his play was affecting the outcomes. Do you think in terms of his second year now and him, being a rookie of the year runner up, do you think it's one of those things where this season will really show like, okay, is Mitchell like really one of the biggest young stars in the league, or was the second half of the season just a successful run where he just had a great run, but the second year is really the second full year is really going to establish what type of player he's deemed as?
Well, it's all speculation first.
Mhm.
First off, I think you have to put that out there. Then we could go into the what ifs and different theories. But then the first thing we have to see if he's completely healthy. He was knocked out of Game 5 against Houston because of a
Yeah,
foot injury. Came back negative. Is he completely healthy? That's number one. Number two is it's something that's called the sophomore slump. There's a lot of players that
yeah.
hit that wall, that slump. I don't think he'll be one of those guys because he can create his own shot off the dribble.
That's what I should have asked. Yeah, that's what I should have asked. What I was trying to ask, do you think he's gonna fall in that sophomore slump? Yeah.
I don't think so because he can create his own shot. He can finish at the rim, and he has bounce. He has the go to, the how to get the job done, and his awareness is better than any shooting guard, 2-3 guard in the NBA to me because I don't know, his IQ is it's for a rookie last year who he had got robbed. Ben Simmons is not a rookie; he's a second year in the league. That's what's so funny to me. I don't know. He should
Didn't
have
play any
won.
game.
Yeah,
I'm. He's a rookie. He was a rookie.
he's a rookie. Donovan Mitchell should have run Rookie of the Year. Come on, let's be honest. But
If you
I
didn't
don't.
play any games your first year, you really can't be considered a rookie. But that's neither here nor
That's
there.
so
We could go
sad.
into.
That's so sad to me. But anyways, I don't think he'll make he won't hit that slump because he's a guy who doesn't depend on one thing of his game. He can go left, he can go right, he can step back. I think he is creating his own shot, and he's a great 3-point shooter, percentage over 40%. You gotta
Wow.
love the guy. I think he's a great player. I didn't know him until that late half of the season, but he came on with high fashion. I think he does not hit that wall because of those tangibles that he has on the court. I don't think
Mhm.
if I would be picky, I don't know. To one flaw of his game, I don't see one, to be honest. I don't see one right now, but we'll see. His durability is one. You get knocked out Game 5 of a big series. That's big. They
Yeah.
needed him. They really need him. But he's not going to hit the slump. I don't think Jason Tatum will hit the slump. Uh, I don't think none of those other guys that came into the light that
You
we
don't
was
think
like,
Ben
oh,
Simmons will
wow.
hit you don't think Ben Simmons will hit the 30-year slump
30th slump,
you
as
don't
his
think as you don't view him as a rookie.
the type of player he is, I don't think he will because he's the type of player that's a facilitator first. And
Yeah,
then
I
he
definitely don't think
scored.
he'll.
Yeah. Because the type of player now, if he was a guy who depended on his jump shot or his ability to create his own shot, then no, he would definitely hit the wall. But he's not that type of player. He's not that type of player yet. He
Mhm.
depends on his assist, facilitating abilities, reading the defense, and then finishing it because he can finish at the rim. That's one of his biggest
Yeah.
biggest tangibles that he has. But he needs to work on that shot game though. Oh my gosh, him without the ball is like watching paint dry. You ever seen him without the ball? Like move, Ben, move, Ben, go, move. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's one of the biggest issues, because he did have a game where he scored only 1 point in Boston, and him not, like I've said multiple times, him not being able to create offense outside of the paint has been his biggest issue. And the longer that happens, people are not going to, he's not going to be like a complete offensive player. If he develops a jump shot, a consistent jump shot, and a 3-point shot, like he really will be a complete offensive player, because he can do all of those other things like playmaking and getting others involved.
Yeah.
We were just a couple topics ago just talking about the summer league, and now the upcoming rookie year for these guys, with Aiden. We didn't see any of Doncic, but we're finally going to see Doncic and Colin Sexton and Mo Bamba. In terms of the rookie camp going into this season, I know it's early, but if there was like a guy you think could have the most successful rookie year, who would you kind of lean to give it toward?
You're going to be surprised by this, and I know you don't really like him. Well, you like him, but you're not big on him. Yeah. I think Trae Young is going to surprise a lot of people.
That does surprise me.
Yeah, I think Trae Young is going to surprise a lot of people because he has the tangibles. I know I keep saying the tangibles, but he hasn't. I think he's going to find that consistency. He's going to find that rhythm after a while. But once he's in that rhythm, he's Steph Curryism. Like he adopted that that terminology. He has the tangibles of Steph Curry, because one, he's a point guard that can facilitate, read defenses, and penetrate defenses. He can finish at the rim. Once he's in a rhythm, if he gets into a rhythm, he's the best 3-point shooter on the court, even if Steph Curry's there. That's big. I know you was like, what? No. I watched film of Trae Young. I was like, when he gets into a rhythm, he's the best. He's the best. Sometimes it takes him a little while to find it, but once he gets it, it's over for that for the team. And I like his way he facilitates, he finds defense, he gets his players involved, his team involved. He's not about he's about the team. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of guys. And he has the leeway to be who he wants to be. I know they just got Jeremy Lin. They don't know who's going to start, but I think he has the leeway to be who he wants to be on that team. I think he's in a great situation.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He like you said, he definitely can be a really good 3-point shooter. And like, some people are hesitant toward making that pick just because of the inconsistencies. Like, he can be like really hot or really cold sometimes shooting, and sometimes people. The thing with Trae Young that I've seen the most is a feast or famine type of game, and when you have a player like that, where the contrast of when he's really on and when he's really not, that can kind of be like offsetting and maybe concerning for those projecting him really high. But I'm really high on Doncic, and I think he's gonna really. I'm not going with Doncic.
He hasn't even played yet.
I know, but I'm gonna go with Aiden. I'm gonna go with DeAndre Aiden. And
what? Wait, what? That's a surprise. Okay, I'm sorry.
I know, but the reason I'm gonna say that is because they don't really have an interior presence anymore as a defender, and even as a as an offensive type player, they don't have that interior presence. And DeAndre Ayton, he can fill that role immediately, and he can be a 2010 guy, like, consistently, and in a manner where he's going to have a pick and roll partner in Devin Booker, who's going to give him a lot of options. And, Tyson Chandler, an aging center, not going to be as valuable as he once was. And now Aiden fills that role. And I just think Aiden's going to have more opportunities than a lot of guys because there's like a gaping hole that he can automatically fill. I still think Doncic is going to be great and maybe the best player in this entire draft, but I think for this season, I think Aiden's going to have the most successful season.
Let's see what happens, man. I'm excited.
I mean, speaking of Doncic, in terms of not seeing a game from him, say, modern day playmaker like a Ginobili or Harden, what concerns do you have in terms of not just getting one game of seeing him in Summer League?
To see if he's really all the hype that everyone is saying he is.
Yeah.
He didn't play. He didn't play he played overseas for a long time. Then he got drafted here. Then we don't see him. Now it's like the waiting game. Like, oh, is he really going to? How can he gel with those guys? Yeah, is he going to be? What role is he going to play? We don't know that yet because we haven't seen him.
Mm-hmm.
Is his 3-point jumper what everybody is saying? Can he really finish at the rim against other guys in America, in this league, in the NBA, National Basketball Association? Is he that guy? That's what we're. Everybody's like, oh man, he was amazing over there, but it's not over there. It's here. Can he go against? He wants to go to LeBron James. I like his enthusiasm and its confidence.
Yeah, but it's like, do you really want that? Do you really want that?
Do you really want to go against a LeBron? Do you really want to hold a Kevin Durant? Do you really want to be in the paint where Kevin Durant 6'10", 7 foot frame is coming at you? Do you really want that? We're gonna see. Like, it's so many unanswered questions. Is he really that good? Can he really compete with these guys? He didn't play college ball here. It's so many unanswered questions. I think that's what it is. Now, when he plays and I say, okay, is he good? Then we'll go from there. But right now, we just have unanswered questions.
Yeah. Another kind of early projection in terms of not really being far too early and not really knowing, the lay of the land, how things will play out is the MVP discussion. And Harden, had an amazing season. Won his first. LeBron was the runner-up, and I think AD was third. But in terms of this next season, and a lot of people have said early that they really feel like LeBron, it'll be LeBron's year because I think a 5-year drought of him not getting the MVP and then going to the glamour franchise that hasn't been to the playoffs in the last 6 years and getting them to the playoffs finally and having an impact on a really talented young core in the West will vote him to the top. But I mean, Anthony Davis is another option. Giannis, Kevin Durant. Who do you see early in terms of thinking that that you think will win the MVP?
I'm gonna go with your guy. I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with Embiid. Now, Embiid has all the tangibles to be an MVP contender. I think it's a lot of nicks against him because, one, he's not durable. Last year running to Markelle Fultz, and he's injured, and years before that. The durability is a sign. I want to see him play a full season, but he has the ability to do so. I mean, they have the 76ers have their position to win the number 1 spot because LeBron is going to the West. You still have the Celtics, but the 76ers
Raptors
can't play. Yeah, they can't play against the Celtics. So I like him. I'm trying to go with somebody else. He needs to limit the turnovers. I'm just going off the top of my head of some of the stuff that I've seen him do in the playoffs. Turn up the turnovers. Be more efficient in the paint. Take good shots at the 3-point line. But it sounds like I'm just.
This is the thing, though. I'm asking this as a serious question. When's the last time the MVP has gone to a player in the East? It's been a while. It's really been a while, and that's another. Yeah.
I mean, it's a long shot. I mean, you can do a debate for Kyrie Irving or even Jason Tatum. It's just so multiple guys is in the East. They have players in the East. I think Kyrie's going to be a guy. Giannis too, yeah, but those guys have to be healthy, and Giannis has to work a little bit more on his game. But I'm gonna pick Joel Embiid. I want to go with a big man. It's been a while since a big man, a 4 or 5 won the MVP. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Let's go Embiid. I'm going with you, bro.
Going with Embiid.
Yeah, I'm going with Embiid.
I'm feeling like
hit me with
LeBron.
It. Oh, see, I didn't want to go with LeBron. I'm sorry.
Okay. This is the thing, though. If I most people are picking LeBron. If I didn't go with LeBron, I'd probably go with Anthony Davis, just because of the fact that now that they're playing an extremely fast pace, they don't have Boogie. He had a dominant second half with no Cousins, and him being the type of player that he is, stretching the floor, doing everything a modern day big can do. I think that really vaults him high up in terms of possibly getting it. I'm trying to make a case for somebody other than LeBron, but it just feels like LeBron going to LA and the opportunity of him bringing the Glamour franchise back to relevance and all of those aspects. And it's not just how he plays, but the narrative. The narrative also is something that I think will work in Joel Embiid, because he has a big personality. People love him. He's an hilarious guy. And also, it's not just, how well you play, but also the narrative. And I think Embiid has that going for him too, just as LeBron does.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah, but I was surprised you went with Embiid. I was surprised you went with the guy who, because when we were talking about the Sixers earlier in the year, you're like, no, Ben Simmons has to be the guy.
I know you're gonna bring
a couple games later, you're like, all right, Embiid.
Man, it's an interest now that I see the type of player he is and what he can do on the basketball court. You have to revamp what you say in the previous statements, and okay, from a fan standpoint and from a guy who's breaking this player's film down bit by bit, you have to just be in awe of what type of player he is. He's a 1 in a million type of player who can do both. He's a great defender. That's where I think he's very MVP caliber type, but he has so many mistakes and so much stuff he has to work on. Working on his spot up situations, like his shooting ability and his turnovers. That's a lot, and his durability. I know it's a lot against him, but I think he has a tremendous upside that he can work on and be an MVP type of player. And I think they need him. He's the type of player they need with the 76ers. It showed. They without Embiid, it was kind of like okay, what do we do now?
Yeah, it really was that way.
It was interesting. It was interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm not big on Embiid, but I like the type of player he is. He's the type of player get his feet dirty, hands dirty, hair dirty. I want all the smoke. As
you play soccer, so hey.
Yeah, did you see the? Okay, now I don't want to go in the rabbit hole. I thought he broke his back.
I was so concerned for Sixers fans. I was like, oh gosh.
It sounded so. That thud was hard, man. That was a hard thud.
But this past week the NBA released its schedule. I don't know if you saw the games, but for the Christmas Day schedule, I think it's Milwaukee, Knicks, Portland, Utah. No, Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Warriors, Sixers, Celtics, Portland, Utah. I kind of have a 2-part question for you, but the first part is, out of those Christmas Day games, like which one kind of stands out to you the most?
Well, it was I know you just named them off. I had a list of them. I expected you to say something about these games, but
I know I didn't mention this in the list of topics, but
no, you're good. You might have to name them off again, man. I'm sorry.
Okay. Milwaukee, Knicks, OKC, Houston, Lakers, Warriors.
There we go. I knew it was one that I really like. I'm sorry for cutting you off. The Lakers and the Warriors. I think that's
so. It's Lakers Warriors for you.
Yeah, I like that matchup, and I think it will be. It's going to be a matchup that we're going to see if this newfound Lakers show team can they get back to the glory days with Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal. Even before that, Magic Johnson, the show Lakers. Can they get back to that against a stacked Warriors team?
Yeah.
Stacked Warriors team. That's going to be a matchup that's going to be, if the Lakers do good this year, I think it's going to be a Western Conference Finals for them, to be honest.
Oh.
If the Lakers, I like what they did in the free agency. They got a lot of two-way players. I love two-way players.
I didn't like what they did outside of LeBron, but that's another. I'm just saying when you get guys on 1-year deals who like McGee, Stevenson, personalities that can clash in a locker room. Stevenson can be inconsistent, obviously. Rondo, I do like Rondo's. Rondo is a savant as a point guard. The knowledge he brings, the veteran leadership, all of those things. We saw playoff Rondo and how positive that can be. But outside of LeBron, what they did, it just doesn't seem like something that is extremely ambitious for making a deep run. It seems as though like, okay, we're kicking the can down the road, and 2019 free agency, we can get another superstar to really get this thing going. I mean, I do think they'll be a playoff team. I just don't think they'll make a deep run.
I don't agree. So
you do think they'll make a deep run?
I think so. With LeBron James on a team, you look at what LeBron had to work with. I know it's different because it's not the West. There's a lot of great teams in the West. I get that. But with LeBron James on your squad, you can make a deep run. And I know it's like you said, a lot of guys clash and Lance Stevens is inconsistent and all this jazz, but I think they can work. LeBron has an ability to bring players together to benefit the organization, benefit the fans, benefit himself, and benefit the team. I think he's there in a great position to make a run for because they have two-way players. If Lance Stevenson is not hitting on offense, he's playing great defensive ball. Rajon Rondo is the same way. JaVale McGee is a great spot-up blocker. He's not a great defender, but he can block shots and box out with the best. And you have to account for Brandon Ingram. You still have Lonzo Ball, who plays pretty good defense. It's a lot. It's more players.
It's
than
not
just
the
those
six.
guys.
Their top six is solid. Ingram, Kuzma, Ball, Hart, LeBron, Ron. That's solid. It's everything else that I just don't think is competent and is going to be compatible for a deep playoff run.
Oh my gosh. Ye of little faith. We shall see. I like that game though. I like that game.
That's going to be must-see TV. I mean, that really, because if you think about it, the last couple of years, the Lakers have played the Warriors pretty tight in the regular season. So add LeBron in there, it can get even, tighter. The other regular season games that are pretty interesting. Sixers at Celtics to opening night. Lakers Trailblazers, LeBron's first game. 76ers at Jazz with the Ben Simmons Mitchell clash. I think that's going to be interesting. Is there another game, whether it be Christmas or regular season, that you kind of find interesting?
You know how to put me on the spot. I like put me on the spot, my friend. I said the Lakers and the Warriors. Sheesh, man.
I'll give you some time. I'm going to say Lakers at Celtics.
Lakers at Celtics. I don't like that.
February 7th. That's going to be pretty cool. Because not only do you have Lakers, Boston, but now you got LeBron and Kyrie headlining things. And that should be pretty interesting.
Celtics going to mollywop. Celtics are going to mollywop.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about – no, the outcome is going to be – yeah, the outcome is going to be Boston. But because they're not at the –
all that talent on that team. If they don't buy in, I'm going to be so mad, man. They have so much talent. They have a bench. A lot of teams can't say that. They have one of the best defenders on their team.
Let's say this:
Smart.
Every Warrior Celtics regular season game is going to be interesting because that could be the finals preview.
Almost deaf. So you calling it Warrior Celtics?
Whoa!
Finals?
Put me on the spot. Yeah, I am.
That's interesting. That's not a bad pick, though. I mean, that's on paper. That's not a bad pick.
Yeah, it's the on paper pick.
So
I did not expect you to ask me that, but hey, I'll go with it. Warriors Celtics.
So on paper pick, you said Warriors Celtics. All right, we need to remember this. You have the Warriors Celtics before season. All right. And then we're gonna switch, like we're gonna get half of the season after the All-Star break, then we're gonna change our
picks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the Lakers and I'm gonna take the 76ers.
Wow. You really trust in this Lakers team?
Wow. I gotta trust LeBron. You have to trust LeBron. I'm gonna take
This is the West though.
I'm sorry. I know Houston. I don't think Houston has enough. I don't know if Chris Paul is gonna be injured or not. Is he durable? He always has knee injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw what they did without CP3 on the court. It was a lot of missed threes. And you bring Carmelo Anthony, who does a lot of three-point shooting, just like Trevor Ariza does. It's going to be the same outcome. No playing defense. We're going to shoot 27 consecutive threes and miss them because we don't have any other. We don't have any other.
It's not only take 27 consecutive threes. It's missed them all.
At one point in the game, you say, "Okay, we need to stop shooting threes."
Yeah.
At one point in the game, I would say after number 10, okay,
10.
Nah, we need to drive it. Like, come on, you got to drive us at all. If they don't have an offense more,
Daryl Morey was like, "Come on, guys! Like, this is not working. I mean, I'm the analytics guy. Threes are great, but 10, come on! Like, let's get something inside.
We have to do something. Dribble, step back, shoot.
Yeah.
Or dribble, pass, shoot. Like, it has to be a different offense of scheme than dribble, step back, left hand shot. So that's why I don't have faith in Houston.
So closing it out, the other interesting regular season game you said, was it Warriors Celtics or Rockets Thunder?
Rockets Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Newfound era with the Thunder.
Yeah.
Old Melo, hooded Melo. I don't know what type of Melo they're going to get in Houston. Vacation Melo.
Bench Melo.
I stole a lot of money from NBA teams, Melo. Like the guy just really made bank off three teams. So I think that'll be a good matchup to see if CP3's healthy. Westbrook, PG3 with a Robertson back healthy. Oh, it's gonna be a good night.
Yeah, good matchup. Russ Harden, always a good matchup, especially on Christmas. Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for today. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.
Woohoo!